Hello there, this is Jim Watts with the Tulsa World Scene section, joined here by my distinguished colleagues, Miss Grace Wood and Mr. Jimmie Tramel. You can say hi now. There we go. Okay. Yes, they are here. We are live, at least while we're recording this. So we're here to tell you about what's coming up in the scene section of the Tulsa World, where we cover all things art and cultural. Available at fine news sellers everywhere and also on the World Wide Webs at tulsaworld.com. Movies are always a good way to start, and we've got one that is a Tulsa creation, I think.
Yeah, Ida Red is a term familiar to Tulsans because A, it's the name of a store, B, it was the name of a Bob Wills song. Now Ida Red is the name of a movie that's coming out Friday. It's set in Tulsa, shot in Tulsa. It's a crime movie. I think it's very good. Features Academy Award winner Melissa Leo, but basically the director John Swab has a movie about a never-do-well crime family in Tulsa, and the matriarch is in jail, and just to what extremes will the family members go to get their mama, the head of the crime family, out of jail. And you'll see a shootout in downtown Tulsa and White River Fish Market and all kinds of things from Tulsa in this film, and I can recommend it. It's released Friday, and it will be on Circle Cinema with a special Q&A with some of the people in the film.
All right. You mentioned Melissa Leo. Is there a lot of, do you know if there's a lot of local talent on screen or behind the screens or behind the scenes or however?
I don't know about local talent, but Danny Boy O'Connor is in the film from The Outsider's House as a smaller role. And then John Swab, the director and writer, is from Tulsa. So that's the biggest Tulsa connection.
Okay. All right. Grace, this will be your debut at producing the bulk of World of Homes for Saturday, I understand. What can we expect for this week?
Yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up this Saturday. The big feature story that I wrote is about the popularity of vintage furniture. I spoke to the owner of Love Me Two Times, which is a vintage shop on Harvard, and he just kind of talked about how he's seen vintage furniture become especially popular lately, especially among young people, really seeing a revival in pieces from the 70s and even the 80s. And he said this is probably due to kind of people being over fast fashion and fast shopping and wanting to be like more sustainable and environmentally friendly. And also realizing that like furniture and decor made back then is a lot better quality and really stands the test of time. Whereas, you know, something that you might pick up from like IKEA or something could fall apart like within a year, but furniture like this lasts almost a lifetime. So that's kind of what he talked about. And then I also spoke with a local collector named Audra Glasgow, and she has just this amazing eclectic collection of all kinds of artifacts and antiques that she displays in her home. She has like an old suitcase that came over, I believe, on the RMS Queen Elizabeth in 1938. As well as like some old maps and like film cameras, and she just displays those throughout her home in this really cool kind of whimsical way. So talking with her was really great. So yeah, look forward to that on Saturday.
Although I must confess it is a little disturbing for me to hear things from the 70s and 80s referred to as vintage. But, oh well, that's my cross to bear. Coming up Friday, we will also have a review of the Broadway touring production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is a new adaptation of the Roald Dahl novel. Dahl was noted for a pretty dark sense of humor. If you've read some of his adult stories, they can be pretty rough going. And this show kind of plays up on that. There are some, the fates that some of the characters meet are rather startling. So, but it does have the songs from the Gene Wilder movie that everybody knows that are incorporated in there with some new stuff. So we'll let you know what we really think about that come Friday. Coming up for Sunday, you mentioned Jimmie, you mentioned Danny Boy Connor, so I have a feeling there's probably another Outsiders related event coming up soon.
Well, we'll segue even beyond that. You said things 70s and 80s are now vintage. Leif Garrett, who was in there wasn't really a bigger teen idol on the planet in 1978, 1979, around that time. Played to 35,000 people in Houston, had his own TV special, had dated Brooke Shields, Christy McNichol, bonafide Teen Beat, Tiger, all these magazines, Tiger Beat.
Tiger Beat, there you go. And yes, I'm ashamed that I know about Tiger Beat. But anyway, go on.
He will soon turn 60. And in commemorating that milestone, he spoke with us about being in The Outsiders, the movie that was filmed in Tulsa in 1982. We've spoken to the Greasers many times. I don't know if we've ever spoken to one of the Socias, which he played Bob Sheldon, the Soch who died at the fountain and kind of, started the movie along. But he was a really fun guy to talk to, seemed very down to earth, and he seemed to enjoy going down memory lane and talking about auditioning for The Outsiders and his experiences in Tulsa.
Okay, sounds good. Well, also for Sunday, we'll be having an interview with Fran Lebowitz, who's a writer and humorist, and will be she'll be the guest for the University of Tulsa Presidential Lecture Series, although she insists I don't do lectures because that means I have to write a lecture. It'll be a virtual conversation where she'll take questions from the audience and be interviewed. She was recently the subject of a 7-part documentary called Pretend It's a City, directed by Martin Scorsese, who's a friend of hers. And we talked a little bit about that friendship and her thoughts about Martin Scorsese in Oklahoma when he was filming Killers of the Flower Moon, and her thoughts about Martin Scorsese in nature, which are not complimentary, but are definitely funny. So she'll be speaking officially on Monday, November 8th, and that event is free. So register for that. What else do we have coming up that we know of that we need to share with our gentle readers?
You have food?
We have food. Yes, we have. What do we have coming up? Most recently we went down south for Zasa's Pizza and Wings. This is a new shop by a young woman named Tara Hatton. She worked for Andolini's Pizza, and they thought she was, they're very complimentary of her abilities and decided that her ideas were worth their own shop. Don't expect Andolini's clone. This is a very different setup. And speaking of vintage, if you're into the early 90s, the decor is all everything from Max Headroom to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and a walking Malox model. Don't get me started. And there's music videos. It was Madonna and Mariah Carey and the Scorpions when I was there. So, but the food is good. And I would, if you like good, straightforward kind of New York style pizza, check it out. And coming up, we'll be doing a piece on a South Tulsa restaurant called Quesero Grill, which specializes in Venezuelan street food. You haven't lived till you've had a Venezuelan hot dog. Anyway, that's what we've got coming up. So we thank you for taking the time to listen to us chatter on. Look for us in the pages of the Tulsa World, and we will gladly see you later.
Behave.
Bye.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.